Hey my friend, have you ever heard of a gadget that's called the eBow? It's a string sustainer in the same way that on a violin, you can use the bow and sustain the strings forever if you want. You cannot do that on guitar with a pick or with finger picking. So with that little gadget, we are going to feed a signal onto our pickup to get infinite sustain on guitar, and it sounds like this. It's a wild beast to tame, so in this lesson, I'm gonna talk about the settings, the effects, the technique, and some exercises to practice to get started and get better at using the eBow. Okay, so the first thing to cover is what exactly should you get? What exactly should you buy? Because there are a few string sustainers on the market. The eBow is the original one, but you also have like the TC Electronic Aeon. And by the way, I made a comparison video if you want to see it on the upper card, and I found that the eBow, the original one, is unbeatable. It's the best one by far in my opinion. So if you can spare a few more dollars to get the eBow, it's gonna be well worth the price. So the thing with the eBow is that it is very loud and very bright sounding, so we need to address that with the settings that we're gonna choose, not even on our pedals or effects yet, just on the guitar itself. So it's very hard to play the eBow by feeding the bridge pickup because it's very close to the bridge and it's not very comfortable. So if I play on my middle pickup with my volume all the way up and my tones all the way up, it's gonna get very loud. So my dry signal, if I play a few chords and a few notes, right? It sounds like this, but then if I activate the eBow and I try to play loud sound warning, super loud because it feeds like a really hot signal right into the pickup, which is hotter than when you play or when you pick, right? So the first thing you're gonna do is to put the volume knob on your guitar at about 3 or 4 at a maximum. I find it like 3.5 is kind of a sweet spot. What you can try to do is just to play your dry signal without the eBow and then compare again. So if I play the same thing, but now at a volume of 3 or 4, about, right? That's already much better, but it's very bright, like I said. So some people are gonna go and all the way off with the tone knob on their guitar at 0. Once again, you can go between 0 and 3. 0 is gonna be very mellow. So once again. So that's very muffled. I'm gonna put it at about 3 or 4 on the tone too, just to get a little bit more life out of this. Right, that's much better. And in my case, I prefer to use my neck pickup. You can use the middle pickup if you have one, or not. If you don't, you can use the neck pickup. I think it's much more comfortable to play this way, and it has just a really round tone that I like. So if those are the settings, you're gonna be you're gonna get a real good tone. After that, you want to put effects because a dry eBow sound is very boring like this. So you can add reverb and delays. It really doesn't matter what kind of reverb or delay pedal you have, what's the brand, what's the type. You just want to put a good dose of it. It's really to taste. So if I play dry once again, like this, versus adding some reverb and delays, it changes everything. And if you want like a bigger tone, you can have more mix and more repeats on your delay pedal, and that's gonna feed on itself. It's gonna add a bit more volume too, but it's really nice. So you can experiment with your delay and reverb settings, but it's really important to have some on your tone if you want your eBow to sound good, especially for ambient guitar. So actually, I skipped this step. I haven't showed you how to use the eBow and the technique to produce the sound on guitar, so that's what I'm gonna do now. When you turn on the eBow, you get a little blue light like this, and if that light is positioned in front of the pickup that's being selected, it's gonna make the string vibrate. It's gonna create a vibration to get infinite sustain, right? And as you can see, if I turn it off, you get like some little curves on either side so that the string can go in the middle of it, right? So you're going to position the string in the middle of the eBow, and you're going to slowly approach the pickup to get the signal. So I'm turning it on. Let's say I'm going to play a note on the 5th fret of the 2nd string. And now my pickup that's being selected is the neck pickup. So I'm going to place the eBow just in front of the 2nd string. So now it's resting on the 1st and 3rd string on the little curves, like I said, right? So now there's like a hole for the 2nd string. And then I'm going to slowly approach and then I get infinite sustain like this, right? It's great to slowly approach it because you get a little fade in that's really interesting. You do not have to press too much on the eBow. Sometimes people don't have enough signals, or they're gonna press on the strings to try to get closer to the pickup. But if you do that too much, you're gonna touch the string, and that's gonna create some like the string is going to touch the eBow, so it's not going to be a great sound. So example. Right? It's not a really great sound, so you do not need to press on the strings, right? Just approach the pickup. Then if you want to bring the notes to life, you can add a gentle vibrato while you are playing. You see people playing violin doing that all the time, right? They add a vibrato, so you can do that too. If I don't play with a vibrato, it sounds like this. It sounds okay because I have a lot of delays and reverb, so it sounds cool, but it's really, even it adds another dimension if you add the vibrato. You can even think about phrasings. I love to do some quick pull-offs and hammer-ons with it, and like little trills, because it's a really a stylistic that works well with eBow like this. So it's really, really nice to use those techniques. And then the big thing to practice with the eBow is to actually change strings, right? Because now I've only been playing on the 2nd string, but you can play on any string you want. It's harder to play on the 6th and 1st string because, like I said, you like to rest the adjacent strings on the little curves right here. So if you don't have anything, it's going to be harder to get the sustain. So you might want to play only on the 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and maybe 5th string to get the best result right here. So the first exercise I would practice is a scale on the same string, right? So let's say that I start from the 3rd fret of the 2nd string, then it's gonna be the note D, right? So I could play a D major scale up and down on the same string. So that's gonna be the 3rd fret, the 5th, the 7th, 8th, 10th, 12th, 14th, and 15th fret for the D major scale. Let's try that with the eBow. What you can do too is to come back to the root every time. So you do 1, 2, 1, 3, 1, 4. Those are the kinds of expressive jumps and expressive slides that you can do with the eBow. That's the strength of the eBow. It doesn't sound as good when you do that without enough sustain, right? But that's something really cool to do. So sometimes when you play, you might lose a little bit of your sustain. So it's just a matter of moving the eBow slightly to find the optimal spot in front of the pickup, especially when you go on lower frets to higher frets. Sometimes you might need to change your angle slightly to keep your sustain. Then, like I said, it's a matter of practicing changing strings with the eBow, which is something you can do. So I can play, for example, a C major scale up to the 5th note, and I'm going to start on the 3rd string and go to the 2nd string after. So I'm going to start on the 5th fret of the 3rd string, which is C, then on the 7th fret of the 3rd string, then I'm going to go 5th fret of the 2nd string, and then 6, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I'm gonna do that with the eBow. So it's just a question of shifting from one string to another. It's really comfortable to do that with the eBow. That's why it's one of the best options out there. So I'm gonna try that right here. The more you practice it, the more you get it. You saw at the beginning, I had like just a little gap between changing strings like this. So it takes a while, it takes a bit of practice. It gets a feel for the eBow in your hand to do that. And if you want, you can add 3 strings on that. So I'm gonna play the same thing, but at the end, I'm gonna go on the 5th fret of the 4th string. So I'm gonna do ta da 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 da. Da, da. Maybe a bit slower, but you get the point. Let's try that. So you see, it's very possible to change strings and have like a great flow between the strings. The more you practice it, the more you do it. And what's really nice with the eBow is that you have a second mode. It's a harmonic mode. So it's going to feed more harmonics into the sound. For example, if I play just one note in the harmonic mode, right? So you get the upper harmonic like an octave higher when you play. So that's the normal mode in comparison. And the harmonic mode. You heard that harmonic? That's so cool. So that's another reason to get the eBow and not another model. I really love it. So now, what to use it for? Like what you can use the eBow for into your own music. You could use it just as a melody. For example, I'm playing a lot of ambient guitar looping songs on my channel. So I'm gonna build a bass with chords and like things like these, some layers on my looper, and then I can use that as a melody on top. Here's an example. Or you can make a symphony. You can mimic violins and cellos and have lots of layers of eBows and make covers of movie music. I've done that a few times by making covers of Hans Zimmer music. It sounds like this. So I hope it was a great introduction to the eBow. If you want to learn how to play ambient guitar, I have a free course for you. Just check it out. First link in the description box below. It's called A Beginner's Guide to Ambient Guitar. So if you're interested to use more delays and reverbs and make your own instrumental, relaxing guitar music with your electric guitar, you are covered in this course. I'm going to show you what kinds of pedals you should get according to your budget, how to make a great clean tone, and showing you the settings on my amp, how to make the best settings on your delays and reverb pedals, and how to layer your sounds to build your first simple ambient guitar songs. All of that is for free, so you can check it out. First link in the description box below. It's my gift to you for watching my video until the end. Until next time, my friend, au revoir.